clutches, chains, belt drive, what should you use? Today we're going to be talking about two different ways that I power the rear wheel. One is a torque converter setup on Peggy Sue on a GC160, and the other is a centrifugal clutch to belt drive on the Excelsior that I just built. So stay tuned for today's video. What's up, guys? This is the Excelsior that I've been working on to get ready for a parade. It's coming up pretty quickly and on a tight deadline. Just finished a couple other bikes up, but I wanted to focus on different types of transmissions. So I'll just show you a couple bikes that I have. My personal bike, this one is going to be for sale here pretty shortly. I don't have a customer for it yet, but it is a centrifugal clutch that is driving a pulley from a chain. Pulley is going to go, this is the tensioner, back to a belt drive. So this is a Whizzer belt drive sheath, I guess, that you mount to the wheel. And what I'm going to be using actually is an older style, just like the old belts that come in little pieces. And what's great about these is that you can actually you can take them apart and adjust the length without having to take the wheel off or slip the belt around. I could use another belt. This is actually one that was on it before, just a solid one-piece belt, and I'm actually going to just try to use the red one here to make things simple. Another aspect for the rear wheel, if the belt drive isn't really working out too well, or I just don't prefer it, this is actually a hub adapter that we'd put a sprocket on the rear wheel, and then I could just run a chain drive. So I'd run a pulley basically to the so instead, let me walk back over here. So what I would run on here, instead of this hub with the chain to the pulley, I would just run the chain on the pulley side. This is basically just a jack shaft that's also in the pedal drive. These are just moped cranks, and it's a tapered shaft, so you can put the peg in and then tighten it down with a nut so it stays, and you can see that they're perpendicular, the right side and the left side. But basically, if I wanted to run the chain drive, I would do the reduction gear. You really can't, it's very difficult to get the right, if you went straight from the clutch back to a chain to the rear wheel. When you have this big around of a wheel, it's just very difficult to have any kind of, momentum without any gear reduction. And this is a Predator 212 that we've mounted vertically. And so even with that kind of power, you really have to have a gear reduction. So I believe this is maybe a 12 tooth clutch, and geez, I don't remember what sprocket this is. But it's gonna see you have a larger sprocket, and then it goes into a smaller belt sprocket to the large belt drive back here. And of course, we would never have a sprocket the size of the belt sheath back here. We would just run the probably a 44 tooth sprocket on the rear. So there you have it with the Excelsior belt drive. So we have centrifugal clutch that's mounted to a sprocket via chain that powers a pulley to the rear wheel for a belt, or powers a pulley that's belt driven to the rear wheel. And of course, we have a tensioner built in there too. Let me show you on this bike. We have a GC160 engine, so it's a Honda engine that has a dress-up kit to make it look older. That's what these fins are up top here. And what I'm running here is a Comet TAV, a torque converter. That's basically a CVT transmission, and what that means is that as the clutch or the drive shaft turns, it actually makes this gear ratio, so it actually gets bigger and turns expands basically the belt and actually changes the gear ratio back here. This gets smaller as it goes faster. And then of course we have the jack shaft that powers the chain back to the rear wheel, which On this particular bike, it's not a bicycle hub like the Excelsior, but it's actually a moped. I think it's a, however you say it, P-U-C-K, puck, puke, let's say puke. Moped hub that has been laced to a Worksman wheel. So you got the heavy duty spokes and the bicycle, industrial size bicycle, but this is a moped hub. So it has a built-in sprocket on the left side, and then also has the chain sprocket for the pedals on the right side, and you also have a rear drum brake. So there you have it on these two different styles. I mean, both amazing bikes in my opinion. Both have power to get you up and running, and both have different types of transmissions. This is just one way to do it. Of course, you can have just a single gear, a centrifugal clutch going from here to a sprocket chain driven to another sprocket chain driven back to the rear wheel. But I just chose to do a CVT with a moped hub and a chain to power the bike. So many ways to skin a cat. These are just two. I've built quite a few bikes over the years, and through that process, I've distilled the best practices and learned from trial and error on what to focus on to get the best results. This is why I'm so excited to be working on a new project for you guys this year to help more people get into these fun bikes for a fraction of the cost of the originals. Introducing Seymour Cycleworks Board Tracker Build Academy. I'm developing an online apprenticeship where I teach you how to build your first board track racing tribute with simple hand tools and no fancy garage. And in the training, I'll teach step-by-step on how to source the best parts, what modern engines are best for these bikes and how to make them look old, and how to give your bike that, of course, barn find ridden hard and put away wet for 100 years patina that you see on some of the bikes that are on this channel. So if you're interested in learning more, you can sign up using the link below, and we'd love to have you part of our first class of the Board Tracker Build Academy. So see you on the inside.